never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Find another.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Today here on the channel, I'm going to be talking about the NFL and giving a quick rundown of all the scores from week number 6 in the NFL now that the week is complete after the Monday Night Football game from last night. But before I do that, let me first talk about the NASCAR race from this past Sunday. They were at Las Vegas. Joey Logano came home with the win. Ross Chastain was second. Kyle Busch third. Chase Briscoe fourth. And Denny Hamlin was fifth. Tyler Reddick sixth. Martin Truex Jr. seventh. Eric Jones eighth. AJ Allmendinger was ninth. And Austin Dillon rounded out the top 10. There was a scuffle between Kyle Larson and Darrell Wallace Jr. Now we may end up seeing some fines or suspensions. We'll have to sit back and wait and see where that goes. But this Sunday, they're back on the track, back in action at Homestead, Miami Speedway for the Dixie Vodka 400 Sunday afternoon at 2:30. Only 3 more races left to go in the NASCAR season. AJ Allmendinger, who finished 9th on Sunday, announced last week that he is going to run full-time in the Cup Series next year. He has been exceptionally well in the Xfinity Series this year, and he's done really well when he has run in the Cup Series. So we'll see if he's any good next year or not. But the big news right now in NASCAR came out last week, and that is that Kurt Busch has said he is retiring from full-time racing, but he says we may see him in a part-time role. Now, if you follow the channel, you know that back in July, Kurt Busch suffered a concussion, and he has not raced since then. He actually missed the playoff chase because of the concussion. Alex Bowman made the chase, but he has now been eliminated because of a concussion. And I hate to see this kind of thing happen, but Kyle Busch told NASCAR before the season started that these new cars suck and these new cars are not safe. But since everybody thinks Kyle Busch is a whiny baby, they don't listen when he talks. Turns out he was right. We now had 2 full-time drivers that have had their season cut short because of this new car. They have to figure out what the problem is, because this is a brand new car that they've just started running this year. But Kyle Busch said it feels like what the cars used to feel like before Dale Earnhardt got killed. He said they're just not safe. They have to figure out what it is, because they're built like the old cars, but for whatever reason, when you hit the wall real hard, it's jarring their heads big time. So they've got to fix the situation. But the reason why I bring it up is because they're claiming that Kurt Busch is retiring because he got a concussion and he's worried about his health. That I don't believe. If you follow the channel, you know that I announced a few weeks back that Tyler Reddick was going to go ahead and leave Richard Childress Racing 1 year early and go to 23XI Racing because Richard Childress wants to put Kyle Busch in that 8 car next year because Childress only has 2 cars. That's the 3 car, which is his grandson, Austin Dillon, so he's not going anywhere. And the other one is the 8 car that right now, for 3 more races, is driven by Tyler Reddick. Well, Tyler Reddick has already signed a contract to go to 23XI Racing, but it was supposed to start in 2024, so they decided to go ahead and do it a year early. Well, 23XI Racing is only 2 cars. That's the 23, which is driven by Darrell Wallace Jr., who's not going anywhere, even though he should because he sucks. But he's not going anywhere. And the other car is the 45 car of Kurt Busch. Now, Kurt Busch only signed a 1-year deal with 23XI before the season started. So I think that Kurt Busch wanted to get another year on his contract, and they told him no. He lost his ride. He knows at 44 years old, that's pretty old for a full-time Cup driver. He's not going to find a ride anywhere with anybody any good. So he just went ahead and announced his full-time retirement. And I think he's retiring because he lost his ride, but they're trying to make it seem like he's retiring because he got a concussion. That's bad. I hate it. It shouldn't have happened, but that's not why he's retiring. He lost his ride. He's retiring because of that, and they're trying to blame it on the concussion. But NASCAR's changed a lot over the years. It used to be a charter car only cost about $3 million to have. And if you're a longtime NASCAR fan, you know what a charter car is. Think about back in the 90s and the good old days of NASCAR when you had drivers like Dave Marcus and Dick Trickle and Lake Speed there for most of his career, and Derek Cope and Morgan Shepherd and Hutch Strickland, Rick Mast. Guys like that drive for underfunded teams that make just enough money to qualify, put the sponsor name on your car, go out there, run about 9 or 10 laps, park the car. That cost about $3 million. Now, a charter car, just to have a start and park car, is about $25 million. So that just shows you how much NASCAR's changed over the years and how expensive it is now to have a race team, which is why they pretty much no longer have those start and park cars. If you can't at least try to compete and at least run half the race, they don't want you out there, and the teams can't afford to be out there because it's not cheap anymore to have a NASCAR team. So if they don't find a way to fix this, NASCAR is going to be broke in about 10 years because that's a lot of money to have a racing team. But anyway, on to some NFL scores from this week. The Giants defeat the Ravens 24-20. The Colts beat the Jaguars 34-27. The Patriots, with their third-string quarterback for the second week in a row, they looked really good on offense. They defeat the Browns by the score of 38-15. The Bengals beat the Saints 30-26. The Steelers beat the Bucks 20-18. The Falcons defeat the 49ers 28-14. The Jets beat the Packers 27-10. The Vikings beat the Saints 24-16. The Rams beat the Panthers 24-10. And it looks like the Panthers are starting all over. They're wanting to trade Christian McCaffrey and pretty much everybody they have. So it looks like they're going to start from the bottom and then see where they can go. The Seahawks beat the Cardinals 19-9. Don't be surprised if Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury finds himself out of a job coming up here in 3 or 4 weeks because the Cardinals just look worse and worse and worse. The Bills defeat the Chiefs 24-20. In the Sunday night game, the Eagles beat the Cowboys 26-17. And then the Monday night football from last night, the Chargers defeat the Broncos in overtime by the score of 19-16. Went to overtime 16-16. Neither team got a first down in overtime. The Chargers punted with right around 3 minutes to go in overtime, and two Broncos players actually ran into each other, and the ball bounced off of them. The Chargers recovered it, kicked the field goal, won the game. And another example of why I say people that tell you defense wins championships, they're crazy. Listen to this stat. The Denver Broncos have held 5 of their 6 opponents to 17 points or less in regulation, and they're 2-4. So if defense wins you championships, and the Broncos are giving up 17 points or less in regulation in 5 of their 6 games, they wouldn't be 2-4. But the Broncos have to figure out what's wrong with their offense, because it's pitiful. It sucks. No doubt about that. But why is it so bad? You look over their roster, and they look like they have great wide receivers. They have a supposed great quarterback. They have all the great running backs. But on the field, they just cannot move the football. They scored 10 points last night in the first quarter, and after that, their offense was pretty much inept the rest of the game. It was terrible, awful, really bad, horrible. But what's the issue? Have we been wrong about Russell Wilson all these years, and all this talk about Russell Wilson makes his teammates better? Is that just strictly not true, and now we're finding that out? Or can these guys, just for whatever reason, not gel and not play good together? Because you shouldn't have the talent they have on offense and be that putrid on offense. When the season started, I thought, well, they'll get better as we go along, but they have not gotten any better. Any thoughts on the NFL scores from this week? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. My girlfriend broke up with me when she found out I only had 9 toes. She was lactose intolerant. And that wraps it up for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.